Hey guys, Youth Wheels here. Oh my goodness, what a week. I mean, I think we can all appreciate the movement this week in all sorts of different areas in the market. And man, I am very glad because the last two portfolio videos I made, I mean, the first one 2 weeks ago was slightly red. We had pretty much no movement, but last week, obviously, we had quite a lot of negative movement. So this week, I'm very happy, obviously, that we've been able to, um, you know, grab that gain because man, it is demoralizing having 3 weeks in a row, or just really anytime you check your portfolio if it just keeps going red, red, red. So let's move on to it. First of all, there's a few elephants in the room. Obviously, it's gonna be my last video, probably, hopefully. The transfer is still being pretty much completed. You can see all of our assets are pretty much gone. I do have some buying power left on this, some cash. And the elephant is Bitcoin. In the last week, Bitcoin has gone up 18%, which is phenomenal. It's currently almost at 81K, which is actually insane. This is like crazy. The the crazy part for me though is I can't sell it because when I transferred out my account, it pretty much shut down my individual investment account. So, um, I knew that was going to happen, but I didn't think that was going to affect my actual crypto account, which is kind of annoying. And I just can't really do anything here. I think I'm not sure if I can, but I might be able to send this out to a different platform, but there's stuff like transfer fees and whatnot. And also, I told myself that I was going to be selling. So the second I get, second I'm able to sell, I'm gonna put some kind of um, you know, sell order in to do that. Because I know that this can drop very fast, obviously. But this is the all-time high ever. So not only just for this year, but ever. Last all-time high, I think like before, I mean this last little thing was like 73K. And we're like, look at that curve. It's insane. Following suit with Bitcoin is Cony. Last week was detrimental, or maybe it was like 2 weeks ago. I can't remember at this point. But their earnings report destroyed Cody. I mean, destroyed it. And I was very annoyed because the previous earnings report also was bad, and we just barely recovered from that. Thank goodness that this has gone up because it's currently at $17, $4.42, up 35% in 1 week, which is wild. So I think on here, uh, it's currently sitting at, and this is, I think, pulling the price at a different value, just about the same. But our total equity is $915, which is incredible. Um, so exit strategy still remains the same. I know that this can always go down very fast. I mean, like I said, the earnings report was one thing. Obviously, that's a very large thing in a stock's history. Um, at the same time, I don't want to play games with Coney anymore. I'm a bit tired of it going up and down, up and down, up and down when I have such a large uh equity in it. And that's obviously my fault. I set it up that way. But yeah, I don't know. So I think the plan is once the dividend pays out, I'm gonna wait a few days and wait for that hopefully recovery in the NAV price and then just sell out from there. Hypothetically, I could sell up before the dividend. That way, the NAV isn't taken, hasn't been taken out because of the dividend kind of thing. but I'm not quite sure yet. I have a few more days to decide that, I think. So we'll see. But I think that's my plan is just to wait after the dividend, just in case there's any upwards movement. If I see downwards movement, I'm selling instantly and taking that dividend as a win. I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard to do this because I just did a transfer, but I'm pretty sure this makes us positive. Right before the transfer, I saw a lot of prices going up on Cony, and I saw that we were like negative 110 or something like that. And we have earned, I think I mentioned in the last video, like over 120. I think it was like $130 in dividends from Cony already. So we are already at a break even point. We haven't lost any money, which is good. Um, Obviously that's not counting like taxes and stuff, but still. Moving on, Misty, another insane week for Misty, which is insane. Um, I'm really hoping this this price continues. Oh, excuse me. I'm hoping this price continues to stay this price, until its next dividend. That's going to be a little bit of a few weeks away. So, like I said, with Bitcoin, that largely dictates Misty's price. So once we see it go up on that end, we can see it go up on this end and vice versa. So hopefully Bitcoin holds its price as well. A lot of people are rumoring it to be like 100K. I mean, we've heard Bitcoin, oh, it could go to 1 million next year. You know, whether or not that's true, I don't know. Well, definitely not the million, but whether it's going to be 100K, because we are getting close at this point now. I don't know. I don't think so personally, and at least not soon. But fingers crossed, that'd be nice for Misty holders. But yeah, no changes for Misty. I was thinking last night, I was like, man, I really wish I had more Misty because I don't think we have that much in Misty. We have like $681 apparently. I don't know what our cost basis was. I think it was definitely not that high. Um, so I don't know. I'm happy with this. I'm gonna stay in it. This is probably gonna be one of the last yield max ones I stay in, at least of the ones that I had held originally. Speaking of yield max ones, I'm gonna take a slight diversion. I want to look at this price, which is insane at $60. Palantir, I think it started at 50, but like it's at 60 right now, which is also disgusting. I mean, like 22% in a week is phenomenal as well. And I think I saw them paying out like $5 per dividend or something. I don't know if I can see it on here. Let's see. I think you go funds, go POTY. Oh, they don't even have it on here yet. I think UMax. Yeah, I don't think they have Palantir yet. When was this even announced? October 8th. I mean, oh yeah, that only came out 2 days ago. My bad. I didn't even know that. Oh no, not 2 days ago. That was a month ago. Huh, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna get in something that expensive. It's just kind of cool to see. Well, maybe not cool. I mean, that's probably way overpriced anyways. But like I said, I think last dividend was like paying $5 a share or something, and it's kind of crazy. We can kind of see this. Max ETFs. Um, if I scroll down here, well, I must have looked at something else, but anyways, moving on. USD 13%. This, you might be like, what the heck happened to the price? And that actually gave me a little bit of jump scare myself when I looked at my portfolio last week. So on the 7th, I believe, they had a 2-for-1 split. So basically you get, twice the number of shares, but the share price drops by half the amount. So, um, that being said, this price is already adjusted for that corporate actions split. So, you can see here that it went up 13%, which is really good. If I do the math, Let's see. Do the math on that. $74.21. Oops. $74.21 times 2 would be roughly $148, which is very high. I think that might be the highest it's ever been at this point, actually. Probably should stop being dumb and go like year to date. 82. Okay, so it was at like 160 at one point. But we're reaching its all-time high, I think. What? That doesn't make sense. Well, apparently, I don't know. That doesn't even really line up with this. Regardless, you can see on this graph we're reaching its all-time high pretty soon. Fingers crossed. Now, that being said, I'm I am kind of seeing a little bit of like I don't know the proper term for it, but slowdown, I guess. Like the velocity of something like Nvidia is slowing down, right? And I did mention this a few videos ago, many times actually, that I don't think Nvidia is going to stay high forever, obviously, and it's going to start slowing down, and it's going to start probably going into the red because it's probably overvalued still. It's a great piece of technology, like the company itself. The products they make are game changing. Don't get me wrong for AI and all that stuff. But there's only so much that you can value, and I think a lot of consumers are buying into Nvidia trying to get rich kind of thing, especially seeing that move in the last year. So I think it's overvalued at this point, and we're gonna start seeing that more and more as time progresses. So and that's we're getting up to Nvidia, and you'll see that. But um second to last on the dividends for this week, we have XDTE. XDTE also paid out a dividend, as well as NVIDIA, and I'll actually display that next. But 3.82% on unleveraged, ETF. This is insane. Like this is really good movement for a week. And I'm excited. I'm probably gonna buy more of this once I get a little bit more capital. Something like the Cony dividends. I'm hoping, and I'm gonna kind of go over my strategy as well. It's gonna be a little bit of a longer video, so for those of you who are still watching, thank you for watching. And I know that my videos have been getting a little bit longer, but we've been doing a lot of movement in the portfolio recently, so that's probably that's the reason why. So moving on. NVIDIA, we had actually no real movement. And I mean, this kind of shows my point. I guess you could argue that, the real killer of that would be the dividend, which is true. You could see it was at like 3.42%, then it dropped. That's just from the dividend. So I am kind of curious to see how well this recovers. If we look at NVDA, the underlying, and we go like the last, I don't know, 3 months, you see 39%, but in comparison to the rest of the year, I feel like we haven't had a ton of movement. I think it's gonna start slowing down, but we'll see. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna keep this as well. Just like Misty, it's been paying decent. I mean, it's not been paying super high yields recently. But I'm going to keep this for the moment, and until something changes, I'm going to yeah, stay with the strategy. XPXL or SPXL, XPXL went up 14.9%, almost 15% in a week, which is phenomenal. This is our largest holding until recently. And actually, before I get into that, let me display the thing. So you go to holdings and then you go to dividend income, and you can see that 1850. I think part of that was Nvidia and part of that was XDTE, I believe. So I don't know if there's a way to do that, but I'll try to figure that out. But yeah, long story short, I sold XPXL because um, I am rotating some of my funds into my larger strategy of growth, which is basically my hedged, leveraged little pie. So we have TQQQ, which went up 16.7%. and BTOL. Just it's kind of something I should point out is basically whatever TQQQ goes up, or really the market goes up, BTOL usually goes down. Sort of. It doesn't always go down. It's not a short. It's an anti-beta, so it's typically designed to go against the market, but that's kind of a good thing, right? So this is trying to save our butts in the case of a bear market. So, and you'll see that right here. If I go to portfolio, we have two slices, is what they call them, in our portfolio pie. So we have the Robinhood transfer, which makes up a little over half of our portfolio right now. This contains Cony, Misty, NVIDIA, USD, and XDTE. I sold XPXL. I actually didn't know how to sell correctly. It's a little bit unintuitive. I'm not gonna lie. You have to like remove it from your pie, but to remove it, it's kind of weird. You have to like edit your pie or something, and then set them to 0 or something like that. I can't remember. What I did instead was I actually clicked on each of the assets. Like I clicked here and pressed sell, and then put in the amount. Now, obviously, I should have, because they don't allow you to say shares. They only allow you to say dollar amount, which obviously coming from Robinhood was a change, because I did know if I was saying, okay, if it was $1,000 and I'm trying to sell $1,000 and it goes up $10 before I'm able to sell, well, obviously that's a problem. Then I'm going to be left with $10. So we have a little bit of shares on both of these, and this is APLD was basically just some random stock I threw out like $40 in, and I basically doubled my money. So, I have no reason to hold it, because another thing that's interesting about this is you're required to at least put 1% in each of your stocks or ETFs that you have in your slice. So, um, basically, if I didn't I don't want to add money to this every week or every month, I'm sorry. So kind of have to just get rid of it. I mean, there is another way, which is basically don't include it in the slice, but I think even then I actually have to allocate some specific amount. Anyways, the other slice we have here is QTOL, I'm calling it, but basically it's the same thing I just displayed over on Robinhood. So TQQQ and BTOL. Now I just rebalanced this because when I sold XPXL, I basically bought, I put it into this rebalancing here. Now I've done backtesting, and actually rebalancing more frequently is actually bad, especially because when something's in a bull run like TQQQ, you obviously don't want to allocate more money to BTOL. But the most ideal ones are between quarterly and yearly, but I'm not going to rebalance yearly because, first of all, my time horizon for retiring hopefully is not that long, right? I'm not looking at 40 years. But I also don't feel comfortable with a rebalance that frequently. So quarterly I could manage, but because I do my my monthly, I don't know why I keep saying weekly, my monthly transfers, I kind of prefer it this way. But just to give a quick rundown on how this would work, if I were to put in $100, let's say, basically 70% of that, so $70 would go to QTOL, and then within QTOL, we would go 50-50. So that $70 would now go down to $35 into each of these. And then same story is true. So that 30% of the 100, so $30 would basically split up amongst these. Now, I have yet to fix this portfolio, so these numbers are not exactly how I want them. I do know that I want XDTE as the largest amount. So that's one thing. Also, another thing I should mention is we do have $18, but it's really cool because you can do the auto investing. So right there. But I've turned that off right now because when I'm selling these, I don't want these to auto invest into stuff that I don't have quite figured out yet with the percentages. So that's kind of what's going on. But yeah. So that is kind of, I know this is, like I said, I know this is a longer video, but ideally, the Robinhood transfer is going to finish. I can transfer over those funds, and voila. Now, the big question is, obviously we weren't able to see it completely correctly on how much our portfolio is totally worth, right? So let me pull up last video. So last video was let's see, I'm just gonna put it in a calculator so I can see it correctly. It was $4,866.34, right? Now, if we pull up a percent increase calculator and take that value there, and then we're going to add up some values here. So we're going to add up 4,823.97 plus, if I open Robinhood again, plus $871. Okay, so you can see that. Now, one thing I will mention is I did do that $500 deposit, so let's just pretend like I didn't. Okay. If we do this, you can see that is roughly a 6.76% increase for the week. Now, including that $500 obviously is more. But again, that's like kind of cheating. So I'm gonna put 6.78 in the sorry, 6.77 we'll put it in the thumbnail, and we'll just call that kind of the base level of this next week, I guess. And then the reason why is I can't do this obviously for a week because it's just going to be inaccurate, as you can see this last week. So going forward, though, we're going to be able to use this weekly feature and get our money weighted rate of return, so the MWRR. So yeah, but that is it all for me. I think this is my longest video ever, so apologies. This is a very long video, but fingers crossed the market keeps going up. I think it's going to have a little bit of a dip next week, and then it's probably going to carry out a little bit more green, but we'll see. We'll see. The bull run can only last so long. So that's why I'm also trying to transfer out. I was trying to transfer out my XPXL into more of a like a diversified, if you will. Well, it's more of like a hedged portfolio with a TQQQ BTOL, aka QTOL. So anyways, that's it for me, guys. And as always, I wish you guys a wealthy future.